Okay, it's been a while. So this is going to be one of those videos where the YouTube channel operator puts up a little state of the channel message, and usually they do that when the channel's failing. It's usually the kiss of death when you're at that part. You know, you feel like you want to say what's been going on, and how you're really excited and you got all these plans, and of course it's the end of the year. So we're going to start out the new year with a whole bunch of stuff, and I think it's just basically got to be honest and not necessarily try to fake enthusiasm about stuff. So, yeah, the previously this channel was called just straight up Torquenti. This was the Torquenti channel, and I was throwing everything up on there. I was throwing music, I was throwing behind the scenes stuff, I was throwing short films, and I was throwing little essays. I have a camera review, and basically just a whole bunch of stuff. And about a year or so ago, I had to come to terms with the fact that maybe I was confusing the algorithm a little bit, and some of the stuff that I wanted to do, that I wanted to push, because I want to be a filmmaker. I don't really want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a filmmaker. And so I thought, well, maybe I should just take the short films that I've done and put them onto a brand new channel. So I put them onto a new channel. I swapped the names around, and just a little bit of jiggery pokery with that. And this is now called Torquenti Behind the Scenes, if you're watching this. And in the description below, I'll have a link to the new Torquenti channel, which has all of the short films and stuff. So, the original idea, I thought quite naively, was that what I would do is I would try to make all sorts of like filmmaker type stuff, like the practical tips for a little bunch of filmmakers. It's a series that I'm proud of, but it's, that kind of thing is going out to filmmakers and not necessarily people who want to watch films, right? And same thing with the camera review that I did. I was pretty happy with it, and it's done well with the algorithm, or it's done better than my other stuff has. But again, people who want to watch movies don't necessarily care about that. They just want to watch the movie. And so I thought, if I put all of the short films that I've done on their own channel and made a nice series of thumbnails for them and made it nice and clear and concise and consistent, then hopefully the algorithm would take note and get me a whole bunch of people who are interested in watching short films. And the end result was that some of the short films achieved fewer views, even though I was, supposedly doing things quote unquote the right way. So that was that was tough. I should have just kept them here and then just kept it all within one channel. But, well, live and learn. If you're going to do this, if you're trying to figure out your own way out, don't repeat the mistake that I made. So basically the issue that I'm running into is I don't really want to be a YouTuber. I've got a short film called Turkey Soup Diet with Chicken, which had a wannabe podcaster in it, and or vlogger or whatever. And I really don't want to become that. That's one of the reasons why you don't see my face on this thing right now. You see this little cartoon dude. In large part because, when I would watch talk shows and they'd bring on actors or directors or whatnot, and they'd come on and they'd talk, and I found a lot of the times like that stuff killed the mystery a little bit for whatever movie it is that I wanted to watch. I didn't like it. And I kind of wanted that, I kind of wanted that mystery to sort of remain there. And I thought, well, in my case, if I want there to be mystery, and not necessarily that I don't want there to be, I don't quite know how to explain this. I don't necessarily want there to be mystery in the sense that I want people to think I'm mysterious. I just don't want people to get an impression of who I am in real life and then apply that to the movies themselves. I want the movies to speak for themselves. To me, that's important. I think the art is so much more important than the artist. I think, and I just doing what I have to do so that people can evaluate the art on its own and not, look at who I am as a person, because who I am as a person is flawed, it's limited, it's changing, and I don't want people to care about that. I just want the movies to be good. And I think sometimes giving people a little bit too much info about yourself in this specific context doesn't help. Or at least that's what I thought anyway. So anyway, Basically, I did the YouTube channel shuffle. The theory that was that I had too many niches here, so I migrated everything over to the new channel, hoping that it would help with the performance. And spoilers, it didn't. Okay, so then that brings up, I guess, the last big thing that I put up on this channel recently was the trailer for Wrong Turns. And Wrong Turns did get finished. It got finished and delivered to the new YouTube channel. So click below if you want to see it. And yeah, it's there. I'm happy with it for what it is. It's my second produced feature, although the first produced feature was actually a co-production with some other filmmakers. This is its own standalone thing. I did everything from start to finish, and I was able to put it up. And my maybe oversimplified view on things is that before you can make the best film of all time, you have to be able to make one of the best films of all time. Before you can make one of the best films of all time, you have to be able to make some really, really great films. Before you can make some really, really great films, you have to make some good films. Before you can make some good films, you have to make some decent films. Before you make some decent films, you have to be able to make films, period. Before you can make films, period, you have to be able to make longer form videos and such. And then before you can do those, you have to be able to do shorts. Before you can do those, you have to be able to do the smallest thing. So it's like a progression system. And with Wrong Turns, I got to the point where I made a feature film. I made a feature film, and I am happy with it for what it is. It doesn't represent long-term what I want to do. It doesn't even necessarily represent long-term what I want to do when it comes to anthologies. I do think I have another pure horror anthology in me. I've got some stuff I'm really happy with that I've written, and I would like to see it within its own thing. That said, anthologies are a tough sell. You know, it's hard to get people into them. I think horror anthologies are probably the ones that are easiest for people to get into. After that, it's tricky, especially if you want to make films that have like a little bit of a slow burn aspect to it. I think that's tough. Not everybody's into that. Even when you look at things like, you know, Sin City or Pulp Fiction, which you could argue that both of those are anthology films just because they have the large chapters in them, there's a fair amount of uniformity in them. You know, like Pulp Fiction has 3 chapters. Sin City has that little opening setting up the title card. It has that little thing with Bruce Willis. I'm talking about the original theatrical edit, and then it's got the long story with Merv, and then the second one with Dwight, and then the last one with Bruce Willis's character again, Hartigan. And you know, it keeps to a pretty set format, which allows for people to understand what's expected of them as an audience in terms of, like, you know, pacing and whatnot. And Wrong Turns did things a little bit differently in the sense it's almost like a 3-part film where you got like 3 really short films. You got one medium length film, one medium length short, was around like 20 minutes, and then one 40-minute thing. And so that was one thing that was working against it. Second, I was very, very focused on producing what I could produce. And that led to Veda. And there are some things about Veda. One of the issues with Veda is that it's a 40-minute film about a guy who's arguing with his computer, right? And that's a tough sell too. You know, I think it is possible to be able to do that kind of thing, but you got to be able to make it more visually interesting. And I don't know that I gave my cinematographer the everything he needed in order to be able to pull that off. I'll take the blame on that one, because he was less a cinematographer and more like a camera op in terms of how heavily I was dictating to him what kind of shots I needed. So yes, and that's like a big 42-minute chunk of film right there about, you know, me arguing with the computer. So that's tough too. But it did get finished. Everybody who was involved in the project, they worked really hard. They did great. I think that for all of the challenges in Veda, I think that Trevor in particular looks really good. So I'm glad that Ben got has his IMDb credit for that one as cinematographer, because he did a really nice job setting up those shots. And yeah. Anyway, It's finished and it's been up there for a while. Another problem with Wrong Turns, unfortunately, is that I didn't realize that there was a horror series called Wrong Turn, and that there were a whole bunch of these films. And I'm worried that there was like maybe some confusion or even conflation between the two. And I really didn't want that. I did go in search of titles that would not be too close to existing titles, and I don't know what happened when I settled on Wrong Turns, and then I find out later on that there's a horror series. I don't know how I missed that in the research, so that's my bad. Can't do that again. Yeah, but I do like the sort of Twilight Zone stuff, and I hope other people do too. And I think maybe in the shorter films, Sisyphus and Trevor and Good People, I think those ones turned out probably the best out of everything there. But then again, it's hard to make a business. It's hard to make money on short films, and so that's why I felt like I had to try to get something in longer form. So yeah, Wrong Turns is up over there, and that link will be there, so you can feel free to check that out. And any comments you have on it, positive or negative, go ahead, throw them in the little space down below. And yeah, I'm not going to tell you to like, comment, and subscribe if you don't want to, and I'll come to the subscribe part a little bit later on. So yeah, let's. I guess it's time to talk about 2025. So 2025 was a challenging year. Managed to get Wrong Turns done. Wrong Turns was originally supposed to be out in Halloween of 2024, but then challenges came up. Some things came up that made it impossible for me to actually do that. I got to take responsibility for it. I should not have said it would come out in 2024. In Halloween, unless I knew for sure that I was going to do that, unless I was like across the finish line. Practically, I should have had everything in post-production in order to do that. And so it ended up coming in around halfway to Halloween for 2025, but it's a thriller-based thing more than a horror-based thing. So that's, I don't know how useful it is to be halfway to Halloween if you're not doing horror. Other stuff, I did put out Turned, which was a short vampire flick. And I did Veda, and I finished Wrong Turns. So that's 3 projects. I've been trying to do since like 2019, 6 completed projects per year. Just something to like build a little bit of discipline in terms of like starting and finishing projects. And I will be able to do that in the sense that between Veda and Turned and Wrong Turns as a whole, and this video and a sort of a series, an unrelated thing that I'm not putting my name on just because I'm sort of trying something out on YouTube elsewhere. And one last thing, which I'll get to in a bit. I'll have hit my 6, but one thing that I really, really wanted to do this summer was I wanted to shoot my first feature, and my first feature, not an anthology feature, but a first 80 or 90 or 100-minute long film. And things were progressing. The majority of the first half of the year was to set that up. And I wasn't able to do it. Things were in place. We were on schedule to do it. I lost some key people that I needed who were going to be involved, but I was still going to be able to do it. And then 3 days before we're about to go to camera, a bomb goes off in the schedule. And it made it that this $10,000 investment felt all of a sudden like a $10,000 gamble. And I lost a lot of confidence in my ability to actually make this thing work because with that gap, I didn't want to make another film where I was compromising on what was going on in front of the camera. I've had too many of those, and I really wanted this one to be good, and so I canceled the project. And yeah, I guess more on the aftermath of that later. But that bomb went off, and I couldn't do it, and I had to make a call, and it sucks, is what it is. Which I guess brings us to the state of this channel. I don't know that I'm going to be putting much more effort into that YouTube channel. I'm not sure, based on the way YouTube functions as a platform, I don't know that like putting short films on here is necessarily the way to go. If you're not a part of a larger team, like a larger group of filmmakers who are all working together and putting up a new short, maybe like every couple of days, you got a new short here and a new short here and a new short here, like some sort of like cartel of like-minded filmmakers. If you could set that up, I think that would be really, really great. But that's difficult to organize. And, it's hard enough getting people to coordinate on one project, getting a whole bunch of producers who are able to coordinate with each other and see their way through to a unified vision. Basically, like trying to set up your own channel, and I don't mean channel like in the YouTube sense. I mean like channel in the TV sense, where like you flip to this channel and you're going to be able to watch 24/7 of horror, or 24/7 of action, or 24/7 of comedy, or whatnot. Getting people to come together and work on that. I don't know that it's feasible. I think what's probably more feasible is one single person with access to a whole lot of resources, and who is less interested in making films and more interested in being like a media mogul. They could probably do it, just because there's so much nonsense that goes into like distribution when it comes to like marketing and delivery and all of that stuff, that you have to put all of your time into it, and you're not going to have much time to actually make films yourself, right? So it's got to be one of those people, and then all of the filmmakers involved have to be able to trust that person, whoever that person is. And I don't know how easy it is to do. I imagine it's very difficult. I know that I don't want to do that myself. And for an endeavor to work, you need somebody who is actually able to do all of that work. So yeah, I guess that brings me back to my channel. I don't know that I'm going to be putting all that much more up on the Torquenti channel. Maybe I'll throw some more filmmaking stuff up here. I do plan to. I plan to do some information dumps here in case they might be helpful for other filmmakers. But over there, I'm just not sure that that channel is going to be enough. I do have one last project, and it will not be going up on YouTube, at least not anytime soon, because the screen isn't big enough. This is what I'm working on.
What happened?
You know what happened. I can teach you how to move things, to haunt places, to possess people. After you figure out who did this to you, you can get revenge.
Is it worth it?
What do you think?
What do you want from me?
Okay, so what was that? This is Anna Postmortem. This is a micro-budget indie horror feature. It is what I started working on within a couple of days of the failure of the summer feature that I was going to shoot. And this teaser that I just showed you, there's a few changes that I want to make to it. I want to improve the music a little bit. I want to might have to replace some aspects, even in the stuff that's there. I think I might have to change some stuff. The film itself is not finished. I still have some pickups I've got to do. I've got some voice acting that I got to do. I still need to score it. So it's probably a bad idea that I'm announcing this early, the way that I did with Wrong Turns. But in full disclosure, I am a lot closer to the finish line on this one than I was on Wrong Turns at the time. So I'm quite close. The stuff that I have to do is achievable. A lot of things can fall apart, and I should still be able to get it done at the very latest by Halloween 2026. That should not be a problem at all. However, I am aiming for halfway to Halloween again. I would consider this a bit of a failure if I don't get it done by then. I think I would like halfway to Halloween to, become a thing. I think one of the things that makes Halloween so great is that, it's a time of year where everybody can sort of like rally behind some spookiness. But I think the hunger that horror fans have for more films and more, stories and more just spooky stuff, the hunger that they have deserves to be sated sated or satiated. I don't know, one of those two. They deserve to be fed. That hunger deserves to be fed. And I would like to get this out for then. And there's probably going to be some more diary type stuff similar to this sort of video right now where I talk about the process of making the film. Once again, I did not really get any proper behind the scenes footage. And I'm going to talk about that, I think, in an upcoming diary about the importance of that. But yeah, I'll be speaking a little bit more about this. Okay, that's it.